Alrighty, hello, good morning. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is the Saturday 10 a.m. technique at the It's a Mystery online crop. I was having some technical difficulties there. I started the live video and then it wasn't showing up, and so I'm hoping it will work this time. I'm just bringing up my video on the side. I've got my laptop this time, and it seems to be having troubles as well. Oh, dearsy, dearsy. Okay, well, I see that people are watching, so hopefully some of you are able to see the video. I'm just refreshing my screen again, and I don't know, my laptop is even like going blank screen on me. So weird. I couldn't get my tablet to work and now my laptop's not working. Gotta love computers. It comes up for half a second and then it goes to something weird. Anyway, if you're popping on to watch, just say hello or howdy, and hopefully at some point I will be able to see it. Alrighty, you know what? I'm going to try logging in under a different thing and see if that works. Because I like to be able to see your comments. I also like to be able to know that the video is indeed working. I could see that 6 people were watching. Oh, my screen has gone blank again. Oh my goodness. Wow, this is a joy. Okay, perhaps let me try my phone. In the meantime, you know what? We're just going to plow ahead, and hopefully, I see that Deborah said she's here. Michelle's, good morning. Kamala, good morning. I probably can't see everybody's comments as they come in, but we will try. Good morning, Sue. Those are the only 4 I can see, and it's got like a exclamation mark and a triangle and all sorts of stuff happening. Anyway, we shall continue on because we're wasting time. We are going to do a card this morning, and we're going to call it Keeping It Simple, because sometimes we just go, oh, I just got a message from Michelle and Sue that says everything's working. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you can all see. I probably won't be able to respond to your comments as the video goes on. So at least my messenger is working, you know, because I can see your messages coming in. Okay, so we're going to be starting out by using, let me see, where did I put it? I've got everything hither and thither right now. We're going to be using the Stamp of the Month because, I don't know, it's just so cute. Oh, Michelle says she's going to let me know if anything happens. Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. You got me. And so we're going to be using this fun December Stamp of the Month. I like showing lots of different ways that you guys can use this, especially my VIPs who get this stamp set for free with a $60 purchase. It's, you know, it's always the popular stamp set because you can get it for a discount if you're not a VIP and you put in an order, and you can get it for free if you're a VIP and you put in an order. So, so I like to show lots of different ways. Now, this particular card that I'm going to show you is inspired by one that was posted on the Maker page by a fellow close to my heart consultant, Karen Barlow, and it was just so cute, and she gave a couple different ideas, and I'm going to show you one of them, but I'm putting a little bit of a different twist on it because I want to include some different techniques. So I'm going to be starting out with a piece of white daisy. I like to have a few of these cut up because you know, you just kind of reach for those white daisy pieces all the time, right? And so this has been cut to 4 by 5 1/4, so it's just a little bit smaller than the standard card size. It's just a plain piece of white daisy cardstock. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing on it because y'all know I love my heat embossing. And so I've got my Versamat turned upside down here to help me with my stamping. Sorry, I'm just grabbing a piece of scrap paper out of my book of scrap papers. I'm going to put this on my Versamat to protect it because we're going to do heat embossing, so there's going to be embossing powder. And what I want to do first is bring in my anti-static pouch. You want to do this anytime you do heat embossing. And what this does is it coats your paper in a little bit of starchy powder and takes away the static cling that a piece of paper would have, especially if you just pulled it out of a plastic package or something like that. It's especially going to be staticky. And so you want to use that anti-static pouch, and it kind of lightly dusts it with a bit of powder, not enough so that you can, have it tumble off too much or anything. But the embossing powder, this is why it works. The embossing powder is really fine plasticky pieces. That's what it is. It's like teeny tiny granules of plastic. And as you know, plastic, if you've ever tried to take like the backing off of this tape or anything, or packaging, and you get it stuck to your hand and you're like, it just won't let go. That's because it's the static, right? So if you don't remove the static from your paper, then you have a tendency to get like a little fuzz of embossing powder here and there, which if you're doing something like what I'm doing today is okay because it's going to be a little bit snowy looking, but it's not necessarily always the look you're going for. So by putting that anti-static pouch powder on there, it gets rid of that, or at least the best way it can. So I'm bringing in one of the little tiny stamps from this collection. And, when we look at stamp sets, we often have our eyes drawn to the big items, right? The trees, the animals, because they're just so cute. But there are a bunch of little tiny stamps here as well. There's a snowflake and a little heart clustery embellishment. There's a little leaf. There's a little star. There's a little arrow and a heart that kind of works as like a little birdhouse. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there. And so those little stamps, don't forget about those. So we're going to use the little snowflake, and I've got my White Daisy ink, which is a pigment ink. And you can do heat embossing with Versamark, yes. You can do it with pigment inks. You can do them with your Distress Oxides. Anything that has a pigment that stays tacky for a while. The regular water-based dye inks, you won't be able to do it quick enough to get the embossing powder to stick. But pigments, absolutely. Now I'm stamping white on white here, and so you're not really going to be able to see my stamping right off the bat. It's just going to be kind of barely there, as it were. And so I'm going to go around and add some stamping, maybe 7, because we like odd numbers, 7 little snowflakes. And then I'm going to come in with my embossing powder, and this is white embossing powder, and sprinkle this on, and I use the whole thing because I'm almost out, and take a little look and see if any spot needs any little extra bits. I see a little defecty thing. There we go. There was a little crumb of something there that wasn't quite embossing powder. Sometimes that happens because, as time wears on, you pick up stuff in your embossing powder. So, there we go. We've moved that. We've got this. And now we need to do the heat embossing part. And you will probably have a hard time seeing where I have put those snowflakes. But there are 7 little snowflakes on there. Let me grab my heat tool. I like to hold my paper up above the surface of my table so that it's not laying flat on my table. Heating up my heat tool and then coming at it with the heat. And I don't like to shake my heat tool around. There's a hot element in there. And when wire heats up, it gets a little bit more fragile. And so if you jiggle and shake your heat tool, you could damage over time that little heat element and have it snap. and then your heat tool wouldn't work, and that would be sad. Plus, there's no real need to do it. Just slowly work your way around, and you will see the embossing powder change from dull and powdery looking to shiny and white. And hopefully you'll be able to see that in a minute on the screen. And just work your way around. Always point the heat tool away from your hand because it does get hot and you'll get hot fingers. So I don't know if you'll be able to see those little snowflakes on there, but they're definitely there. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute because I need to do some stamping. I want to stamp out the little penguin from this set. I think he's just so cute. So I've got him loaded up on my block, and I'm going to use my intense black ink because I want to do a little bit of marker on him. And so if we start out with the intense black ink, then we don't have to worry about any ink smooshing around, bleeding, or any of that when we're doing our marker. So there we go. And what else are we going to do? We're going to do some markering on here, but I also want to do some ink blending on this. So maybe I'll bring back in my scrap paper here, and I'm going to use Periwinkle as the ink that I'm going to blend on here. I'm just going to quickly rub this on my pants, as I always do with embossing things, in case there's any of that anti-static pouch dust still on there. I don't want to get that in my ink. And I'm using my blending brush. I love these blending brushes, and it looks like it's got a lot of ink on there, but even if I take a tissue and rub it, there's only a tiny little bit. And you can even wash these if you want, but really just rubbing them off on scrap paper, like there's really nothing on there. The ink only sits on the tips when you pick it up here. Now, Periwinkle is a very light color, so it will take me a moment. Where's my little handy dandy tool? If you have that problem where your ink pad slides around when you're trying to use a blending brush, then just go to houseware store, dollar store, and get some drawer liner and put your ink pad on there, and oh boy, so easy. My mommy gave me this. She had one of those for all the ladies that went to the retreat at her house. And then I'm just going to start blending some of this ink into the center of my piece of white daisy cardstock. And I like to swirl counterclockwise and clockwise. And as I said, Periwinkle is a very light color, so it takes a moment to build up some ink on there and allow it to, there's my computer shutting itself off, just in case Michelle tries to message me. So it takes a moment to build up the color. And I think that's really nice because we're going for kind of a frosty, wintry feel. I know Christmas is over, but we're still in winter here in Canada. And we're going to get a lot more snow over the next couple months because we haven't really had much here in Brampton anyway. We've kind of missed a lot of it. And so you want to kind of concentrate the color in the center and then just sort of let it fade out. And you can see those little snowflakes now that were kind of hidden before have really come to light. But we're going to make them even more obvious by taking a tissue, these are always handy to have in your craft room, or a soft cloth, and just buffing over the top of those embossed snowflakes to remove any ink. See, there's just a tiny bit of ink that's sitting on top of them, and then they'll just shine and pop right out of that colored background. Isn't that fun? Now, I want to do a little extra because, you know, we like a little extra. And so I'm bringing back in my Periwinkle ink. Now, our new stamp pads are fabulous. I have arthritis, and the fact that these have magnetic lids just make life so much easier. I don't know about you if you've tried these, but it's just such... our older ones used to be the ones where you had to push the button and lift and swivel and flip, and yeah, and I, on the best days, couldn't do it. So I am enjoying the magnetic lids. We've had these for a few years now. But the other thing that you get is you get this lid that can act as a palette. So what you do is when your ink is closed, just take your thumbs and push in the center of your ink pad. And what it will do is it will kind of push the lid into the ink. And then when you open it, you're going to see that some of the ink has transferred to the lid. How cool is that? So then what you can do is you can use it as a palette. And I like especially to have the clear shimmer brush. And because, yes, we have lovely colors. And yes, I have a few of them, but I don't have Periwinkle. But anytime you need a color that you don't have, as long as you have ink in that color, you can take your clear shimmer brush, if I can get the lid off, and on the side it'll say push. You want to make sure this is nice and juicy, so you give it a little push to make sure some nice shimmer is coming out, and then you just smoosh it around in that inky goodness that's on the lid, make a nice little puddle, and then you can come in and do some splattering with Periwinkle colored shimmer, and add just a lovely little haze of shimmery, sparkly goodness. I'm going to just wipe this off here on the side to remove the Periwinkle color, so it's ready to go. And the next thing I have to do, that same tissue that I used to rub off, I'm going to take it and pick up whatever remains on my lid. Now, if you're going to do multiple of these little scenes, you can go ahead and do them all at once so you don't waste anything. But you don't want to put the lid back on your ink when you've got any foreign substances in the lid, like the shimmer, because otherwise you're going to have shimmer in your ink, and you're probably not going to get nice inked images when you've got little bits of shimmer and things happening. So always clean the lid off nicely before you stick it back in there. So now I hope you can see in the lights we've got a lovely little flurry of glittery Periwinkle shimmer going on there. And if you have the Periwinkle shimmer brush, then, even easier. You just go ahead and use it like usual. But that's a fun way to get just about any color you need. And I believe, even if you have like washable markers, rub them on acetate, you can pick those up with the shimmer brushes too. Any kind of thing that can transfer. And I also use it to activate my watercolor pencils. So I actually have, I think, 3 clear shimmer brushes because I use them all the time. And some of them are a little older and some of them are a little newer. Okay, let's do a little bit of coloring on this little penguin here. The first thing I want to do is, it's a penguin, so we got to add some black in a few places. I've got my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir, it's not Tri-Blend because it's just True Black, but I've got my True Black Spectrum Noir, and I'm going to use the brush tip as opposed to the chisel tip. And you're going to see me spin this little guy around a lot because the tip needs to get into little pointy spaces, and my eyes are watering right now. So I'm trying to blink, blink, blink and see where exactly I'm coloring. Do you ever get that where your eyes, you're doing 101 things and then you go to do something where you have to see really well and your eyes just go blurry? Maybe that's a sign of aging, perhaps. I don't know. But it happens to me. I'll be doing things for, a good chunk of time, and then all of a sudden you try to do something particular, and yeah, bingo, there it goes. All right, let's give him some little black wingies. It's interesting that penguins have these little wings. They don't fly, but boy, do they ever swim. They are such good swimmers. It's like they were built specifically for it. It's amazing, the animals and critters that we have in the world. We were just looking last night at a few of the animals from Australia. Karen was showing us a video that her husband took And it was the spiny anteater. So cute. Oh my goodness. So cute. we had our own private documentary showing last night during Chat and Craft. It was very fun. And so we're just going down. Sometimes when there's spots in things like this that are very tiny, I have also used a journaling pen to color it in, because sometimes it can be a little bit one of those things where you kind of hold your breath as you color because it's a tight squeeze. I don't know about you, but that happens to me. And you just work your way around, filling it all in. And the other thing I need to do is, I should have done it when we had our sale. I need a new black, because this one is getting worn out. Too many penguins. Love me some penguins. But you always got to add that nice little sharp bit of black to them, and it just makes everything pop. The great thing about penguins, though, is that if you like things that are done in black and white and monochromatic, boy, they're the go-to. Yeah, I can see my marker is fading. So there we go. All done. And now I just want to add a little bit of color to his hat. And you can see here I've got a couple tri-blend markers. I have the True Blue blend and I have the Ice Gray blend. And those two together get a fairly close enough-ish, your brain can fill it in, color to Periwinkle. So I'm going to use the light True Blue and just quickly fill in the hat. Just like that. This is a little bit easier than all those little spots on the on the penguin. And then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to do a light layer of the Ice Gray blend. So using the light side, Ice Gray. And it just kind of adds a little bit of dullness to that blue that kind of gets you a little closer to Periwinkle. And there we go. Somewhere there's a list, and I keep forgetting to check it, where it actually tells you which markers to use to get close to my heart colors, which is so fun. I think I shared it with the with my VIPs one time, but I don't think I actually, downloaded it onto my phone or anything. So now I'm going to fussy cut. Yes, we're going to fussy cut. And just go all the way around the penguin. I like to leave a little halo of the backing so that I can have a little bit of leeway and not accidentally chop into the stamped image. And just go all the way around. Now, a lot of our stamps come or can be purchased with thin cuts, but the stamps of the month do not. So whenever you're using your stamp of the month, just know you get to have the fun of fussy cutting. And when you're going towards an inside corner like this, you want to get rid of that excess of backing paper, because it will cause no end of grief when you're trying to get in these little corners. And just pivot your paper around. A lot of people like using an X-Acto type blade when they're getting into those inside corners. And I have done that too. It does help. There we go. Get rid of the excess. And now the little feet, aren't they so cute? Oh my gosh, penguins are just adorable. That's one surefire way to get me excited about a stamp set, is just to put little critters on it, because I have a thing for little critters. They just make me happy. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Little critters. All right, so now we want to, and we're going to add a sentiment on here, but I want to know where to put my sentiment, so I'm actually going to go ahead and stick my penguin on. We're kind of doing things in weird order today, but you know what? That's just how life is sometimes. So I'm adding some 3D foam tape on the back of my little penguin, and I'm going to pop him right in the center of that inky, that inky space that we've created. There we go. And let's see if I can kind of get him on there straight. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So cute. Okay, there we go. And let's give him a sentiment. Now, the sentiment that I want to use is from the new Sending Good Vibes stamp set. And I've got it here, but it's all rearranged because I was getting the stamp out. So, there we go. And the one I want to use is this one here. The hey, there, hi, and hello. But now you're looking at here and you're going, that's not going to fit. That is too big of a stamp. Well, we're going to do a little bit of masking because the part that I want is the hey there. So a handy dandy tool to have in your craft room is some sticky notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here to the bottom and put my sticky note on. It's already got, removable adhesive on there, so I don't have to worry about it lifting anything. And then I'm going to grab my intense black ink because we used black on the penguin. So the method was keeping it simple. So we're going to go back to black and we're just going to ink up the hey there part at the top of our stamp. Make sure we got some ink and make sure we don't have any ink in weird places. And I'm going to have to scooch this a little bit closer to me. And I can't even tell if it's still on the screen because I can't see the video. And then just line it up so the hey there is above that edge of the sticky note that we stuck down. And I should be stamping this on this side of the Versamat. But here we are. And hey there! It worked. But you can see that by putting that sticky note, any excess ink we got on the rest of the stamp is now removed quick and easy and simple. So always keep little sticky notes in your craft room. You never know when you might need them. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our card base. And this is our pre-scored value pack bases and envelopes. And I'm just going to use the handle of my scissors to give that a nice crisp edge. And I'm going to add a layer of black core cardstock to the front of this. And that's because it's just going to make everything pop with that little penguin. It's just going to be so cute. And it's keeping with our keeping it simple. Not only is there not a lot of embellishment on here beyond the ink, we also don't have a lot of different colors. We kept the color scheme simple. And sometimes the most effective things that your brain likes the most are the things that you keep simple, right? And so I like to use my fingertips to feel the edge of the fold. And then I take my piece that I'm trying to line up and I hold that at a 45-degree angle and I slide it towards my fingertips, lining it up top and bottom. And when I feel that they're lined up, I just lay it down. And I almost always get a pretty exact, I was going to say, a pretty exact, look at that. I can see white there, but that's okay. And then let's add, that was actually probably more like cutting than anything. Let's add our layer on top. Remove the backing. I love this card. When I saw that Karen Barlow had posted this idea, I was like, ooh, I gotta make those because they're just so awesome. And then we're gonna center this in the center like so. And oh my goodness, isn't that the cutest ever? Her idea was just so stunning. She had done her snowflakes with tone-on-tone stamping. So she had inked with, I think, Capri, and then stamped with Capri, and then splattered with Capri shimmer. But I decided to switch it out and do my snowflakes with the white heat embossing and do the emboss resist technique. And then also, because I don't have a matching shimmer for this wisteria, the periwinkle, I went ahead and did the technique where you use a clear shimmer brush and pick up the color from the lid. Then, of course, doing some masking down here to get just the portion of the stamp sentiment that we want. Blending 2 different colors on our hat here so that it matches our ink a little bit better. And isn't that just so cute? Oh my gosh. And this would make a lovely happy mail for somebody this time of year. You know, we tend to think that all the wintry stamping and cards and things happen for Christmas and the holidays. And then it's over. But you know what? Happy mail, thinking of you, thank you cards, birthday cards, so many things can be done wintry themed. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that little penguin come together. And you know what? The other thing that you could do is that hey there, hi, hello, the full stamp you could stamp on the inside as an inside sentiment. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, have a wonderful day. I hope you get a chance to read the next chapter of the mystery that's been posted early this morning, as well as the game and the challenges. We'll be back on for Chat and Craft at noon. I was going to say 1 o'clock because it used to be 1 o'clock, but at noon. And so hope to see you then. All right. Toodaloo. Have a great day. Bye-bye.